No beeping. Beeping, beeping. That's a reminder for you guys to click the bell icon so that you'll get notifications. That was what that was. That was my subtle attempt to make you subconsciously click the bell icon without asking you to. So yeah, I'm back again today to talk to you again today about the video with the beeping in it. And read a lot of comments there. I read all the comments actually. And I don't know, people misunderstand what you're saying. And I thought I would make this video fairly quick. I'll try to keep it quick anyway. But it really doesn't matter if it's long, okay? It doesn't matter if this video is long, because this channel, I have to remind people of this as well. This channel is for this. It's for me to do whatever the heck I want. You know, whatever I feel like doing happens on this channel. If I want to go out and strip naked and run around my backyard, if I wanted to do that, I can, okay? So even like a Speedo, I'll put on my lime green Speedo and go out and run around my backyard. And then I'll grab the camera up by the tripod and I'll go run down the street with the camera out in front of me. Anyway, so it's morning. I'm working on the video. I started actually last night and did some of the voice-over stuff. This one's fairly easy because when the project is not that complex, I prefer to record the voiceover out in the shop while I'm doing it. Like I'll do a certain number of operations and then I'll stand up and I'll talk to the microphone and describe what's going on. And then that winds up with me having maybe 6 or 7 individual clips where I'm talking. And in this case, probably 40 or 50 of the action, probably less than that. Doesn't look like it's 50 for sure. And so I edit the voiceover for, I did this before. I showed a video about doing this. Okay. So if you want to go back, look through the stuff, I already showed how I do this. So that's what I do for the less complex projects, the ones that I don't think are going to do especially well. The other ones, the more complex ones, the ones that I want to do well, or I have plans for, or, you know, I have high expectations for, even though they probably don't pan out, I will record all the action out in the shop without doing any voiceover, because part of the problem with, okay, filming stuff is that if you have to talk about it, then you have to get everything right. And like I talked about this before. So I'm going to stop talking about this. You can go watch that other video where I explained it in more detail. So I had a lot of comments from people, why don't you just go ahead and edit the video and call it like a fail video, and then we'll learn from your mistakes. But here's the problem with that, okay? First of all, like I just mentioned, it takes a long time to edit a build video. I don't have a, like I built that with the idea that it would be good. So I didn't record a voiceover for it at the time. So I would have to start editing it, edit the whole thing basically, and then write a script for it, and then bring it, well, I wouldn't bring it out to the shop. This time I would record it in here, but then I'd have to record that script and I'd have to edit that. And when it's all said and done, you're looking at a solid 2 days, possibly. I'd be very lucky if I could get it done in 1 day. So that's, okay, 2 days that I spent on a failed project on the outside chance that the video might make enough views to justify the, not only the big, like the entire, like, okay, just count the 2 days that I spent doing it. And that's very unlikely. People want to see projects that work. They don't really want to see projects that don't work. So there were quite a number of comments about that. The other comments that I got was kind of interesting, actually. There was kind of a misunderstanding about what I said about dumbing down the projects. And that's not really, probably not the best words to use. I mean, when you're doing this, you can't think of like I don't have somebody sitting out in the next office writing my speeches for me, you know, telling me the exact words to use all the time. If you're sitting here doing this on the fly, then, you know, sometimes you say something that's not 100% accurate. And dumbing it down is kind of a not good way of describing it. And a better way of describing it is, as I've said in other videos, is that I really go out of my way to try to streamline. Maybe streamline is a better way of putting it. Like if I originally start designing a part that has curved cuts in it, I will work so that I eliminate those curved cuts, because curved cuts are problematic, especially if they are a functional part of what you're building. You need to lay out exact dimensions for that, either that or provide templates. And I don't like to provide templates because people have too many problems printing it. I provided templates for other plans before, and too many people were sending me emails asking me, what do I got to do to set my printer to get these to print? So no templates, all dimensions, and where possible, straight cuts. So people take this kind of stuff for granted. They don't realize how much work goes into just that. I mean, it's not just the design of the project itself. It's all of these things that I do to streamline it, to make it so that it will work with basic shop tools and, a fairly low skill level so that you can get the project done. So it was interesting to read some of the comments saying that maybe this vise is strong enough, maybe I pushed it too far, and I don't know, it's kind of like letting me off the hook on things. I mean, when you look around the world of products and people buying things, how many people are going to be happy with something that will break before you get an acceptable amount of force put on it, or if you happen to pound on it a little bit, it breaks? That's the kind of thing that people generally complain about. I know I do. I like for things to work as they're designed to work. Like, there are limits to everything, of course. You can't take, the most expensive tool, bring it out and abuse it and beat it up and smash it and all this stuff and expect it to still work. No, but that's not what I'm talking about here. This is a definite early failure situation, well below what I expected the performance of the vise to be. And I could make some fairly small changes to it. And this is what I did in the 2 hours after the part broke. And while thinking about it, I said, okay, look at the size of this vise, John. The thing is tiny. The appeal that this thing has is very limited. So, is this actually worth the time? This is something that I should have thought about before I actually started building it in the first place. So maybe the failure is a good thing, because maybe I'm not winding up with something that's a total dud. Okay? Maybe it forces me to go back to the drawing board and design something that's actually worth building. Last thing that I got a bunch of comments on was that, if I did post a video showing how it didn't work, that you could learn from my failure. And I don't think that's a valid point. I don't think there's anything really. Okay, the thing to learn from this, would be to not jump the gun. But this is not a situation that a lot of people find themselves in. I mean, my failure here, there was I didn't make any mistakes other than assuming that the thing was going to work, assuming that it was going to be strong enough. That was my failure. And in that assumption, I went ahead and I built the project. Not only that, filmed it, the build, and I did the plans. I spent a lot of time working on the plans with the idea that this was going to be 100% successful. This is where I failed. It wasn't 100% successful. I did all this extra work rather than building a proper prototype, which is what I should have done from the beginning, and, test that until it breaks. So that's the failure, and I don't think that there's anybody that can really learn from that unless they're doing this type of thing, unless they're building projects to make plans from and make videos on. So it's a limited value type thing. I should probably mention one other thing before I go, and that is related to work ethic. I talked about people letting me off the hook on how strong the thing is. Maybe it's strong enough type thing, but it's like everything I do. I'm not anal about, the details, but what I want to do is I want to get something done that's the best that I possibly can. And that doesn't mean, being a stickler over the insignificant details, like the orientation of the coils in a crossover. What it means is that I put the extra effort in to make the project the best that it possibly can be within reason. And it's like everything. It's the reason why it takes 2 days to edit a build video, because I'm spending the time doing that in that way. I want to get the best product out of it that I possibly can within reason. So I'm never going to be satisfied, and I'm never going to release something that was just slapped together to get a video put out and to get a plan made so that I can sell it, thinking that, okay, well, some people are not going to make this, and the other people, well, I can make excuses for them. If they complain about it, I can say, well, you didn't use the right glue or something like that, or you drilled the hole too big or something like that. No, I want to make it so that there's none of that. There's none of those possibilities. They make it as instructed, and it works well, and it doesn't take forever to make. So you spend, $5 or $10 on a plan, and you spend an afternoon or a couple days even building the project, and you have something that you can rely on in the end. I don't want to be producing junk. That's the bottom line.
Hey, Chili, is this your ride?
Yeah, I'd like to sit up high, check everything out. It is a Cadillac of minivans.
Oh.
Yeah, check this out.
Wow. You mind if I take it for a spin?